All right, so the ring test finished printing. It looks really, really good. And just by eyeballing it, it looks like it's pretty much in the right neighborhood. So hopefully it'll fit. But before I try and fit it, I noticed that the can isn't quite perfectly round. Like, it doesn't look horrible, like enough to throw the measurements off of here. So hopefully we'll get a fit. But the main thing is that I don't know if this is going to show up or not, but you can see right here, or maybe you can't see right here, there is a divot, like it got bent at some point. I mean, if you can't tell, this is a really old can and it's seen some use, if you can see from the rust and stuff that's in there. None of that's going to cause us a problem, but that little dent might. So, safety first, we'll put on a glove and use a needle nose pliers to see if we can't straighten this out a little bit. Nothing too remarkable. I don't want to go too crazy bending it the other way either, so that way we get all kinds of weirdness on the outside. That would actually be worse. And yeah, it looks like it didn't come back perfectly, but it did return the shape of the lip back to round, which is what we wanted. So let's give it a little bit of a tweak there. Alright. Okay, now we will see if this bad boy actually goes on. So yeah, I've got, like I said, like I showed you from Tinkercad, I've got one lip. The inner lip is just a little bit taller. And the reason why I wanted to do that is so that way I can tell if it doesn't go on, whether or not it's to the inside or to the outside, because I'll have, I've got that gap coming down on either side, so I'll be able to see. So let's do this. Okay, so looking good so far. Oh, okay, so it's tight. I mean, it is tight. I am holding on to it by my ring test. So, but the good news is that is tight along, and I don't know if I'll be able to demonstrate this for you, but it's on the inside of my gap, which is, if it was going to stick, this is the preferred way to stick, because then with that lip like that, I can make sure that I can get, whatever I use to adhere these to each other, to give it a nice well, so it'll get all over the place and give me I can get a nice good bead of glue or whatever it is I use in there. So that is fantastic. I mean, that is, and it sits solid. I mean, sorry about the jiggle there, but yeah, I mean, like, there's no, it's on there, and it's on there right. So I don't think I'm going to modify the gap itself. I mean, that is, I could not ask for more than that. I mean, it's on there good, but not so ridiculous that it isn't easy to take on and off. But it'll stay in place while it's there. I literally cannot ask for more than that. So, so this ring back in Tinkercad will be the launching pad for the actual, I don't even know what to call it, widget for turning this coffee can into a warp pipe. So a little bit of what's going to be involved in that is, obviously this will be built out to come. I mean, I don't know if I'll go up or down with it. I'm thinking up, so that way I have more of the cavity free inside to add weight to, because I'm not entirely sure what I'm using for weight yet. So, but it'll come down, and I figure I'll base it around, I'll bring it down as far as this first lip, and then up as high as it needs to go to get the proper ratio so that it actually looks like a warp pipe. And then on the inside is where it's going to get trickier, because I think I'm just going to build the one piece, so it'll have like this whole area be filled, and then I'll have a hole with a cone in it, and that cone will fit this part of the flowers, so it'll jam in there, you know, like with whatever adhesive I have for it, and then it'll sit, and then it'll give me a nice, I'll have a, you know, the rest of the area where the flowers are not, since this won't have like soil in it or anything, it'll be nice and flat piece of plastic that I can paint probably black, and then the bouquet can sit in, and then it'll look, you know, kind of like that. And so it'll basically be, you know, like a kind of a funnel, I guess, but it'll be pretty rigid, so that it'll hold it and hold the weight of it from the lip, or from the, you know, the top of the can. So the whole thing will be, you know, holding it with my hand here, like it'll be, the weight will be resting where my pinky is too, to give it, you know, good central, you know, it'll keep it in the middle. And then I'm probably not describing this very well, and I apologize, but it will make a lot more sense when we're back in Tinkercad. So, you know exactly what I'm trying to get at. So I will take some measurements of the thicknesses here, and then the length of it overall that I need, and then I can adjust that accordingly to, you know, wherever the top of the warp pipe is actually going to be. And then hopefully that'll sit and give me enough room past this, because I don't want to have to cut it if I can help it, because that'll be that much more that I can, you know, glue or secure or whatever, to make sure that this thing will stay one piece once it's all assembled. So and then it'll give me room down there to, once I figure out, you know, I mean, I don't know if I'm going to use, you know, just like wood or, you know, something, because I don't need to go crazy with the weight, but I want something in there, just to, I don't know, give it a little more presence. But yeah, so that's where we're at. Since I don't have to modify this, I will, like I said, I will use it as my launching pad to build up the rest of it, internally and externally, and we'll see what we get. So yeah, so from here, going back to Tinkercad. See you there. Okay, so now that we know that the ring is going to work, the other part that we need to pre-test is I don't know what it's going to call. I'm going to call it the cylinder that the bottom of the bouquet will actually sit in and be secured in. I'm thinking I'm just gonna, like I said, it's gonna be a cylinder, so it'll be a tube, but then it will have a cone on the inside. And the reason why is because, if you will see here, when I did the measurements for the base of the plant itself, I took a measurement right at the tip and right at the bottom of the leaves, and it's pretty obvious that the tip is thinner than where the leaves are. So I want to give myself a base so it's wider at that top where the leaves are going to be, and narrower at the bottom. Not that I need it to be, you know, to be secure in there just by pushing it in, but you know, because I'll put glue or epoxy or something in there. But it's mostly just to make sure that when I, you know, build the big production, it'll be able to sit in there naturally, so that when I epoxy it, I don't have to worry about like holding on to it the whole time or forcing it to make sure that it stays in place. That cone will kind of give it a natural inclination to sit where I want it, as the whatever fixative I use hardens. So yeah, so I want to test and make sure that I've got a good cylinder for the plant itself to go in. So let's start with a cone. And then we will want to turn the cone upside down. And let's see. Oh, the measurements I took. So at the end, at the very end nub, it's 5/16 thick. So I'll want it to be 6/16 or 3/8 at the end. And then right at the bottom of the leaves where I measured it, it was 1.25 inches. So we've got it. Oop, still on metrics. Hold on a sec here. Inches. So it'll be set at 1/8 of an inch. So I'll just do the measurements plus a 1/16. So, duh, I wasn't thinking about that. So let's just change that to 1/16. So let's zoom in on our cone here. And we know that we want the diameter of the wide part of the cone to be 1.25 inches. Okay, well, it's not giving us exactly 1.25 inches. I wonder why that is. Oh, because I put it... Okay, so I'll have to delete that cone, drop in a new cone. There. So now it's exactly 1 inch. So now we can do our 1.25 and a 1/16. And 1.25 and a 1/16. And the length of the area is 4.5 inches. So we want this to not be 1 inch tall. We want it to be 4.5. Okay, and now I forgot we need to turn that over. Actually, do we need to turn it over? Yeah, let's turn it over so that way that when the 3D printer actually builds this, it'll have an inclination to, it'll build wider so we don't have to worry about any overhangs or anything weird like that. It can just build up and build out simultaneously, which I think will work better. Okay, so let's see here. Now we can change. Oh, no, we didn't want to do that. What was it? Okay, well, I messed that up. Good, let's undo that. Okay. So what about the top radius? Okay. So we can do, so why don't we go and put that out just a little bit. Okay, now unfortunately I have no idea what those numbers actually correlate to directly, which is kind of sad, but we can kind of use our grid to help cheat a little bit. So we know that this distance is 1.5 inches plus a 1/16. So if I want this to be the 3/8 that I'm going for with it, we want it to be, because I think, yeah, so each half of one of these squares is a 1/16. So 1 square, is that right? 1 square is an 1/8? think so. So let's go until we have 3 squares-ish. Let's see, go. There, what do we think about that? Is that close to our 3? It's like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be, you know, like I'd like it to be in there just good enough to where when it sits in, it's not going to go anywhere, you know, without a lot of work. I don't need it to be jammed in there so I can't get it out, but I think, yeah, I think we can call that a good test. That looks pretty close to 3 squares to me. So let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and a half and a 16. Yeah, so that's exactly it. So I do believe we are pretty close to the inner size that I'm looking for, which is perfect.